Thank you, Zoom.
All right, welcome to the Triumph Japan Roundtable here, where we have 3/8 of our jury right now. Some of them may be joining in later. Well, just as I was saying that, we have another wonderful member of our jury joining in. Welcome, Zareen. We literally are just getting started here.
Oh, okay, I thought I messed up.
Hi,
I'm sorry.
Zareen, I
My
missed
phone
you.
was sleep mode.
All right, so
Hi.
we are going to discuss all three of the finalists. We'll talk about their social, their strategic, their physical game. We'll talk about moments in the game that you think may be important. We'll talk about what you guys are looking to get out of the finalists going into it, and what may improve their standing with y'all. All right. I will open the floor first before for you guys to just go ahead and just spew for a bit. And I'll mute myself, and then I can guide it towards any direction. All right, open it up to any of you guys.
Okay, so is there anyone particularly we want to talk about first? Because I have thoughts about one person specifically.
I'd love to
I mean,
start.
we can knock Fabi out of the way.
Yeah. Okay, before anything, Zareen, I want you to go first because I'm gonna be honest. My thoughts stem on the negative. I don't want this just to be a bashing on my end. And I know you obviously worked closer with Fabi than anyone else, right?
Yes.
So what are your thoughts about that?
Okay. Like, he does show, like, some brain, like, some of the game sense. Like, I'm not gonna say, like, he completely, like, he has no idea what's happening. So, like, there is, like, some, like, I know what's happening in the game there. But, like, I think compared to, like, Peyton, who, like, I can see was really with it. And I feel like even Lauren, like, from what, like, I can understand what people are saying about it. I feel like he is the weaker of the two, like, definitely. But, like, I would have to see what he would say. Like, maybe there's, like, moves he did that I wasn't aware of at all. But, I mean, I could say, like, even the Allison vote, like, it was a me and him kind of decision, but, like, I don't know if he'll take, like, 100% credit for it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, like, it really depends on how he sells himself. But I do see him the weaker out of the two. Well, no, for me personally, Peyton is kind of like a front runner in this situation. And just because, like, I kind of see Lauren and Fabian like the same space, so I would have to see how they sell themselves. So that's just my opinion on it.
All right, my fucking turn. I think in terms of Fabi, for me, I think this could be like a general like sentiment that I feel like a lot of people on the jury felt. I feel like there was a lot of strategic players this season, and some people did end up going on their own terms, but there's a lot of people who were very much with it. In terms of the Ausfo as well, I think every single person on this tribe gave you the credit, Zareen, which rightfully so. You deserve that fucking credit, but no one really gave the credit to Fabi. I saw Fabi being steamrolled pretty much by everyone strategically in certain matches, but like there was not one move that was particularly his, right? Obviously,
agreed.
If it was something that connected to someone, and he was always left in the minority in specific cases, which I'm not exactly sure if that might be a bad thing or a good thing, because obviously a lot of us flipped from majority to minority to majority, especially with us on the Kinkas. That was a whole fucking mess of itself, and thank God Yuki's winning, because God, our representation would have been awful. No offense, guys, I love y'all. But what pisses me off even more was, and I think it's just, I think after a certain point, he just gave up. I think he saw the writing on the wall about his position in the game. Like, keep in mind, he nearly went home during the Blake vote out, right? He nearly, he loses his ally in Mikey the next tribal. And I watched the Final Four tribal council back, so Zach can kind of vouch for me on this. It very much gave off a defeated attitude in terms of like oh, I'm not going to do what's best for myself here and vote off Payne. Because keep in mind, if he had voted off Payne, his chance to even gain jury votes in of itself actually would have been a lot better, because a lot of the votes that are pretty much locked towards Payne right now. And for me, I see it as a situation where, for me, I am torn between Payne and Lauren specifically. All those votes that would have gone to Payne would have gone to Fabi in some semblance of that, primarily because, again, you heard Madison straight up say that they didn't want vote for Lauren to win, and then that would have been a case between Fabi and Zach, and obviously Fabi was closer to people in the International Alliance. I think it was I feel like it was a mix of an extremely stupid fucking decision not to take out Payne when he was right there.
Oh, I told him.
Visible this entire fucking game.
I said this. I kept on pushing him. You know, in the vote that I got out,
Yeah.
I said, like Fabi, like, why do you not want to get rid of Peyton? And that's when me and Mikey mostly. That's when he said that I think they have a secret alliance going on.
It was basically Fabi's.
Yeah.
To get vulgar, it was basically Fabi sucking Payne's sick this entire fucking game and not really making any moves for himself.
Yeah.
Or that's the way it kind of appears,
was...
even if he was closer with people like Mikey, even if he seemed closer to other people as well. It seems like he never really played the game for itself, and that I cannot fucking forgive. Yes, obviously, people, I think, can recognize writing the walls, but you saw at the end, Lauren fought for her spot and she went immunity. Payton fought. Zach fought. Fabi fucking gave up, especially when you're that far into the game, when the ending's right there, and you know you have people on the jury that you were in alliances with that support you. Why fucking give that up at the last fucking moment? That's what I'm confused about, and that's what when I say I want to strangle half of you, Fabi in particular. And also another fucking thing in terms of social relationships.
Can I say something before you go on an entire tangent?
Oh yeah, no, I'm heated. I'm heated, girl.
I know. I know. I'm gonna stop you. So this give up attitude that Fabi has had at the final four tribal council, he's had that far back than anybody really can see, because in the tribal council where Keaton was voted out on Kenka 2.0, that is the point where I realized, oh, Fabi's essentially given up. Fabi has thrown everything out the window and does not want to try anymore. And it was easy for things to get pinned on him, which worked out in my favor, but it was so weird to see, like, Fabi, I called with, I think, like, Fabi, like, 3 or 4 times within one round of Kenka 2.0, and then Keaton got voted out with Fabi being blindsided and everything, and he just was, like, really hurt with Duncan and Lauren, and now... Sorry, brain fart. He was just really hurt by the blind side of Keaton getting voted out, but like, it seemed weird, just game wise, because he just stopped caring, and a lot of that also manifested in a distaste for Lauren, like to a personal level, and that really irritated me that he. On our one-on-one call, he just talked a lot on a one-on-one call before the Final Four Tribal Council, when I was giving him my plea one-on-one, he spent a lot of time just bashing Lauren. And I'm like, I'm trying to give you my plea, dude. I don't want to talk about the immunity girl. Like, I want to stay. So, like, it doesn't need to be focused on you, dude. And he still just went on a tangent about how it's gonna be awful seeing Lauren in the final 3. I'm gonna hate being there with her, stuff like that. And I'm just like,
that's a bit arrogant of him, just assuming you'll get there.
Well, so okay, no, let me rephrase that. He actually told me that he doesn't expect, like, he wasn't 100% sure that he was gonna make it there, but he was saying that he would hate to be there with Lauren. But
I'll probably be there with Lauren if I got to the end. At least to the end.
No, and that's
what all I have to say about it.
Yeah. No, and here's my thing about that. Lauren only won the final immunity. Lauren was shit at immunities otherwise, and everyone can fucking vouch on that. Lauren is not good at immunity challenges regardless. And keep in mind, the final immunity challenge, that was a short fucking final immunity challenge.
30 seconds.
If Fabi really didn't like Lauren that much, Fabi had from the merge to the fucking final 5 to do fucking something about it. If he had cared at all, not even cared, if he had any social agency at all, there would have been at least some push for Lauren to go. But nothing ever amounted to it. Even when the vote tied between Blake, Fabi, and Lauren, Lauren was not in danger of that in the slightest, I think.
Not even slightly.
Blake, you probably have more stuff to say about that.
My thing is, like, where was Fabi from the second round of merge to the final 4? Like, Fabi became active again at final 4. Where was he from the second round in the merge all the way to final 4?
I think he's going to use his excuse of being sick.
But you're not sick for 3 weeks.
Right.
So it's like, I think he gave up once a lot of things didn't start going his way. But the thing is, like, as we've seen, every single person in this merge did not get their way at least one point in time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's not when you give up and stop trying. That's when you start pushing forward a little bit more and be like, hey, what the fuck? Let's get this back on track. You know what I mean? And like, Fabi didn't have a social game. Maybe with people like Zareen and Mikey and Madison, maybe, because I think him and Madison were closer than him and Peyton were, but I could be misreading that. Other than those people, I had to message Fabi first every single time. And finally, the third round in the merge, I gave up doing it. And I didn't hear from Fabi again until final 5 when I messaged him first again. And so, or final 6 when I messaged him first again, sorry.
I was like, excuse you?
I was like, where the fuck is Fabi? Like, did he just give up? What happened? And plus, on top of that, the strategic game is just not there. The social game was not there. And the physical game was not there. So what part of the 3 aspects of the game did Fabi actually have? Nothing.
He won 1 immunity challenge.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're tying with Lauren for immunity challenge wins. Well, at the same time, aren't they all tied for immunity challenge wins? So that's kind of a nil point.
Well, Peyton won a tiebreaker, but fire making.
Nil points still doesn't count as an immunity win.
I guess. I mean, to be fair, when someone wins almost all of them, physical game, you can't really take that into account.
Yeah, and like I've mentioned a couple of people before, I don't really take physical game into account. I take account of social and strategic game, especially with orgs. There's so many people that have different skills. Like I'm good at specific challenges in of itself, and I'm not good at others. Same thing with Zach, same thing with Zareen, same thing with so many different people. So that's not something to take into account because you can't really prepare for those types of simple stuff. It could be like 1 second difference, a tenth of a second difference at some points. So I tend to rely on social strategic game. Socially, Fabi faltered specifically because with me, Amanda, and Blake, he never really made an effort to reach out to us. It very much seems like with the few allies he did have, he never really reached out. I think he reached out, and I think he expected y'all to carry the weight, like Zareen and Mikey. And the second Mikey got blindsided to final 5, that's when he kind of swooped up a little bit because he kind of was like, oh shit, I need to actually start doing stuff myself, which is good if you're playing an under rare game. But I don't think he was playing an under rare game. I don't even think he was playing a game. I think he was just coasting on the backs of people who were stronger game wise, like Zareen and Mikey, because Zareen and you and Mikey would have blown Fabi out of the water if it was like a one-on-one between them.
So I will say, I think that we need to take into account, like, when we are giving our speeches and stuff, can we not, like, rail Fabi, like, against the wall?
Yeah,
like,
no.
I get that he played it like a really bad game, but, I mean, he's a decent dude. I don't want him to feel like garbage.
I agree.
I won't go too into him, I promise.
Okay. I just, and I'm not just saying that for you, Brandon. Other people have strong feelings about Fabi. I just, everything that he's done in this game, I think the only person that can have something personally negative to say about Fabi would be Lauren. But that is being said to say, just I would appreciate, and I think production and everyone else would appreciate, if we just don't just badger Fabi the whole time.
No, and that's not our focus, because in reality, it's really a two-way race between Payan and Lauren, obviously for
Lauren.
different reasons. I think both of them have played great games in different ways. So I think the focus should be on them, because for me as a juror, I'm torn between the two of them right now, just because I have seen more of Lauren's game before I left, and I understand more about Lauren's kind of thought process and everything else from talking to her more about specific stuff. But Payne was also so very open about his own game in of itself. I think there's this difference between both of their games that I think is really interesting. I do definitely think both played great games, just as a matter of preference and who can argue their case better, which is what it really comes down to for me. I don't think Fabi should go scot-free, keep in mind, because I think he still needs to like answer to some things, but I'm not, but obviously more focus I think should be focused on Payne and Lauren, right?
So I'm actually, I don't know if this is surprising or not, but I'm leaning towards Lauren playing a better game, if I'm honest. Because, you know, Blake said earlier, everyone has had their ups and downs. Everyone has voted in the majority. Everyone has voted in the minority. I can only think of one time where Lauren did not vote in the majority, other than Final Four. I can only think of one time of that happening.
She was in the minority for Allison, and then she was in the minority for Duncan. But those are the only two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, too. I don't
She was
consider
very
the
much in turn, but also with the Allison vote, she very much was in kind of like the whole field of, okay, point of Payne or Allie needs to go. And obviously you were pushing Payne during that time frame as well. So it was very much, even if you didn't vote minority, Lauren was still very much in kind of like at least some of the know-how.
Yeah.
That being said, I think Lauren has had more of her way happening than Peyton has.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Can I just say one thing about Lauren's game? So when I got the jury, everybody was like, oh, Blake was able to lie to people and get away with it and make these moves and get away with it and not feel any repercussions. But Lauren was right by my side the entire merge, and we were both doing the legwork to a lot of the stuff that ended up happening for us together. It was never.
But then I suppose the question would be like, who did the more, like between the two of you, who would you say deserves the credit more? If you guys were both there.
I think that Lauren deserves a lot of credit when it comes to me being in the game. I feel like Lauren did a lot more work than Blake when it comes to having me being not strung along, but having me have her back, because she was constantly telling me, like I was talking to her a few times, not early on in the game, Blake. I talked to her a few times, just slight comments like saying, oh, I think like Blake is going to be a big threat or something like that. Just a few times, not anything like direct of saying, oh my God, I want to go after Blake. Just little comments like that. And then Lauren just immediately, she took it in and did nothing with it other than tell Blake.
Yeah,
and
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. And that holds a lot of, I guess, promise within her game, because I think that there's a lot of power in being able to shut your mouth. And no offense, Peyton, but Peyton's not able to shut his mouth.
No. See, and like Lauren and I made a final 2 minute one of merge, and every single thing that Zach said about me pre-merge and like that he said to Duncan, she brought right back to me. And during the merge, everything that Zach said during the merge, she brought back to me. That's how I knew everything that Zach was saying, because she was bringing it back to me. Without Lauren, my game wouldn't have been what it was. And I feel like honestly, I was okay with Zachy staying in the game because I knew that he could have been a number, but Lauren was the one driving Zachy staying into the game, because if it was my decision, Zaki probably would have been gone a little earlier in the merge, but Lauren made me realize that keeping Zaki might be a better move for the both of us, and she was right. Like, I feel like Lauren had a lot more strategic game than anybody gives her credit for, and she was able to, whether it was a 30-second challenge or not, she was still able to win an immunity challenge.
Exactly.
And she was the worst one. You know what I mean?
Lauren and I had very similar aspects and ideas of what we wanted to happen when it comes to strategy. We both had the ideas of keeping bigger targets around in the game so that they would be taken out before us. And I think that is what drived her to the end, was realizing that both of us had a similar strategy and wanting to keep me around to help her fulfill that, in which it worked. She's there. She did it better than I did.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes.
Cool. Hi, I'm in my car, so I've just been listening for a little bit. I also just wanted to hop on and say that Lauren's shown consistently, at least I can only talk about what I saw, but up until my boot, she was underestimated on the original tribe of Yuki. And when we swapped, me and Lauren more or less ran Kenka 2.0 with Zaki, but it was up to us to decide which way to go with, who to vote for. And I'm so proud of her for being able to consistently manage everyone else in the game and get everyone else systematically to where everyone should like regret ever just letting her go, because she's done great work. I'm so glad to hear all this positive feedback for her.
Of course. And like, there's obviously, I don't want to keep just with just like praising Lauren. Payne also deserves some praise too for his game as well. I mean, first off, finding the 2 fucking idols when let's be real here, I'm fucking dumb.
I want
on Kenka. No one on Kenka.
I'm dumb.
I wonder, Madison needs to say if he found it. So me, Madison, and Peyton got on call on Yuki 1.0 and like idol hunted together. And I want to know if it was because of him, like if he found it before, or Madison, because Madison was the one that found out how to get the pre-merge idol.
Yeah.
Just
it was
credits to her.
Yeah.
I have
No, definitely.
I have a little bit of a problem with how much happiness and like pride Peyton takes in being so unnecessarily cruel when it comes to just random things. So like, for example, one of the many examples was sitting with Madison and I forgot who, finding the idol for hours, knowing he fully had the idol. To me, that seems a little bit unnecessary.
Oh, so he had it already at that point? Oh my fucking God.
Yes. As well as
so never mind, I redact my comment.
As well as during the tiebreaker, y'all watched it. The entire time he was like, "Oh my God, I hate word searches. They're so bad. I haven't done one in years." Like, it was like, I mean, I knew he was bullshitting me. Like, it makes no sense to just say, try to undermine other people when the other person is very obviously knowing you're trying to undermine them. And there's another situation where he did that. Oh, when after Peyton misplayed the idol, for like 3 rounds, he just straight up was like, "I don't want to be a part of this game anymore. This game's not fun. Meh." And then like at one of the tribals, he even said it, like at the tribal, he's like, this game hasn't been fun for me anymore. Like, what? Why? That does, like, I love you, Peyton, but you got to be like, that's bitter bitch attitude, and I don't like that.
It's kind of like throwing his toys out like the crib and stuff, and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm having a hissy fit."
Yeah, I'm gonna go on mute. I've been talking a lot.
For it.
I will say, like, I feel like Peyton, I'm not going to undermine Peyton's game because I think that he did play a good game. I will say that I feel like, I mean, this is all from my personal viewpoint. I feel like Madison was more the brains behind the operation and Peyton was more the voice. because at the end of the day, Madison would talk. I feel like Madison talked more actual game with me than Peyton ever did. Peyton would just kind of beat around the bush and not say much. And that's how I knew that he was kind of BSing the alliance that like him, Madison, Lauren and I had together, because he would just start like beating around the bush and not saying much. And that made me not trust him, which I mean, Madison at least tried to keep me reeled in. Madison was also the one pushing for me to go for a long time, and she finally almost got her way.
And that's when she left.
Yeah, and I feel like
it's like the way that I see it. Sorry, the way that I see it, it's like Peyton was kind of like I'd say like the head honcho of this thing, of the alliance. I feel like Madison was more of his like information getter, and like she would do all the groundwork, like really make the relationships. And then I suppose like to play devil's advocate, if Abby did have a secret alliance with him, that's how Peyton knew about, I suppose, like when to play his idol, when not to play. Oh, well, to play devil's advocate. I don't know if this alliance was actually real or not. But I just feel like I don't want to be a situation where Peyton is just like reaping the benefits of all of Madison's hard work when she was really the one out there. That makes sense.
And I was about to say, Peyton definitely did do some stuff separated from Madison, or tried to at least separate from Madison at some points. Even with the Duncan phone out, him and I were on call. He wanted Duncan out as probably as much as I do, even though I was probably more vocal about that at some points as well. And when all that shit went down, Peyton and Allie were the people who kind of went to break me and Amanda with the last, and finally got everything together for the most part. And that's something like there is separations between us two. And I think at some points it's also in terms of Survivor as well, in terms of like the game overall, where we're watching for TV shows or us playing Oryx. And I can speak from this as well, because obviously I've done this way too fucking long than one person ever should. If you're very vocal about some of the stuff that you do, people tend to give you the credit for that. That's why you got the credit for Allison's vote, Zareen. And I think that's the reason why Peyton, to his benefit as well, also got the credit for his moves. And despite how big of a threat he was, and he still is, even though he's in the finale, he's still sitting there when he has no reason to whatsoever. Like I said, he should have been voted out at the final four. There's points in this game where, based on his big threat level that everyone perceived it to be, he should have been voted out multiple points in this game. And I don't know if it's our cracked asses. I blame our cracked asses for that. But I think it's still commendable that despite that big ass target that was definitely painted on his back from the fucking pre-merge, he's still sitting there.
No, I agree. Because, like, the fact that Fabi will not vote him off, like, I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't
And the
get
fact that, like, it just boggles my mind.
I think that's more of like a Fabi thing and not something we should like give props to Peyton because Fabi's an idiot. You know,
yeah, but this is separate from Fabi's an idiot. Even going back to like the final 11 after Alice's vote, like all the writing was on the wall in terms of like, okay, who should be the next vote after that, right? And it's like the way things work, that just doesn't happen, despite the big target that Payne always had pre-merge and going into merge as well from probably both sides. Payne somehow found a fucking way to make sure that his name was never the majority. And when he really fell in danger, despite that one idol he had misplayed, he still found the other idol and was able to use it effectively in order to probably take out the one person who was getting after him most. A lot of people like.
I just want to say I tried to take Peyton out 1,000,007 times and nobody would do it. So it kind of was just a waste of time for me. It became a waste of time.
I mean, I had my reasons to not target Peyton, but
I mean, I just found it kind of funny at the end of the day, not gonna lie. Whose iPhone, by the way?
Oh, wrong
That's a great question.
That's Jordan.
Okay.
Oh, hi, Jordan.
Hi, Jordan.
I was looking at that. I was like, who the
Hello.
fuck is that? Hi.
Jordan, when are you coming to Houston?
I was going to say that also doesn't deny Payne's game, because he still was able to make, I feel like Payne and Lauren were able to make close connections with people in of itself as well, which I think is still a benefit to their social game. Strategically, I think they both made different moves. I think Lauren was very much more under the radar, which worked to her benefit immensely. Like in a game where I'm going to be honest, y'all cast in 90% crackheads who always choose violence. I'm not kidding about that. It's funny that the one just under the radar player, the one truly under the radar player, pretty much steamrolled her way to the end. It's low-key impressive, not gonna lie.
Lauren was able to do a bunch of and not robot.
I wouldn't say she steamrolled.
That's probably the bad word for it, but like she pretty much glided her way to that fucking end.
I feel like everyone could. I feel like because she was playing such a low key game, I feel like people thought they could beat her and that she'd just be a goat to the end.
Yeah, that's something also that can play a positive or a negative aspect as well, because there's so many times, and I've seen, like, I also look at Survivor comics as well. Like there's this comic called Survivor Fan Jury or something like that, where it's like, I don't know, I just like it a lot. There are people who genuinely have played good games under the radar, but sometimes there's something called being too under the radar.
Yeah.
Where you will never get that credit. Even if you say, oh, you did this, so you did that, the more vocal players and that will always take it, even if you were the ones pulling the strings. So there's, for me, with under the radar, there's a very fine line that you have to pull to the point where you are visible and people know you are part of the majority and doing stuff, but at the same time, minimizing your threat level enough so that that never comes back to you and your game gets blown up. I don't know if Lauren towed that line perfectly or not, you know? She tried.
More or less, like, was it intentional or not intentional?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Duncan. I really appreciate that.
And plus, like, Lauren's playing like other games like alongside this. So, like the fact that she's able to do like she can like split her mind between this game and another
Is
game.
she really playing
another
other
game.
games? What a fucking psycho.
Yeah, she's playing a game that my friend's in. It's the Hannah
She's
Montana
playing
game.
Conflict.
Oh, right. That started mid-game.
She's on a drive with Divvy right now.
Oh no. I love Divvy to death. I love them to death.
I wanted to meet her so bad.
I can't
so
wait
bad.
to talk to Divvy again.
Oh, Divvy was a true all-star in this game. I loved them to death. I need to talk to them about the Midnight Club.
Well,
I actually
like,
did end up finishing that first season.
I love Divvy. I absolutely adore Divvy. But to this day, I still don't understand why they acted the way they did during the challenge, the music video challenge. I still don't understand.
This is how the game started, people. We all chose violence. This is why our tribe sucks.
Okay, so I'm going to reel this back in since we've gone a little off the rails here.
Yeah.
We've gotten away from our final three discussion. But we can talk more about this at reunion, which I'm sure some people would love to talk about. So we've talked about Peyton, we've talked about Fabi. I just stepped away for a few minutes. Haven't we talked much about Lauren?
We have talked about Lauren, actually. We talked about Lauren before Peyton.
Okay, sorry,
No,
that's
nothing
when I
but
stepped away.
praise.
Perfect. All right, so let's get into types of what we're looking for to during final tribal. What are we going to be looking for them to possibly get your guys' votes?
For
For
Lauren?
me,
Oh, you go first,
Okay,
Serene.
go.
Sorry.
I was gonna say for me, it's social awareness. It's going to be truth, as in like owning up to what you did and don't hide in shame and sham. Like you need to if you did it, own up to it and don't apologize for it because you did it. That would be social awareness, truth, and I also think it's just like what tools did you use to get there? What were your building blocks? What were your okay? This is my move, and then this is how I decide to move forward. This didn't go my way. How did I move around that? So like I would have to see some sort of like moving and shaking and like, going with the flow. I need to see those three things personally.
I think for me, Lauren, they've been quiet all game. I need her to own her game at this fine. Like I need her to own it because I think we all see on the jury, like coming in, like comparing notes, how good of a game Lauren played. It's up to her at this finale to own it now. For Payne, we all know that he's very loud, and obviously he did play this game in the open. I need some humility out of him in terms of like kind of recognizing other people as well. And also I want questions about how he was able to kind of separate his game from Madison at some points, because it very much felt like his game was very much attached to her. And I want to know what was done separately from from his words specifically, For Fabi, I just want some awareness, some semblance of awareness. Like, in terms of how badly he fucked up. But that is me. That is strictly me. When is this finale happening, by the way? John Barrow?
Sir?
Mr.
Megan's husband?
Man in a hat?
Hello?
He's dead. Okay, Blake.
Another tribal council again. Damn. I know he did that at some points of the season. But I think for me, if somebody tries to take credit for stuff that they didn't do, that's gonna raise red flags for me. And that might make them lose my vote right away. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. I also want to hear each of them own their game without being too cocky and too arrogant about it. Because I think there's a way to own what you've done without throwing it in people's faces. And I think that might be something that Peyton struggles with, but I want to go into Final Tribal being like open about who I'm voting for. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little biased towards one person.
We know who that person is. Say Lauren. Fucking say Lauren. Say it.
We have a big unbiased jury.
I am going to go in and hear Peyton out. I'm going to hear both of them out, and I will make my decisions based off of who I think played the better game. But I think that both of them need to own their game. Peyton needs to tone it down a little bit. Lauren needs to amp it up a little bit because I feel like she has a hard time speaking around a big group of people, and I think that she just needs to take a deep breath and own that game. Peyton needs to take a deep breath and not be so, and I'm not saying Peyton's an abrasive person, but not be so abrasive in his delivery.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see who will thrive during this final tribal, because I think either one of them would make a great winner.
What about you,
But I will say, if Lauren starts apologizing for things, I'm not gonna vote for her, because like it looks like she played such a great over the radar game. The minute she starts apologizing for the moves she makes, I feel would just taint it completely. She's like, "Oh, I'm sorry I did this. I'm sorry I did that." I feel like that would just take away from her amazingness that she did.
As the resident, I will apologize for fucking nothing and everything. I can kind of sympathize with that. So I can excuse that a little bit more, but I understand where you're coming from.
I just want to say, I'm so sorry.
Duncan, what about you?
It was, what are we looking for?
Yeah.
Is that what the question is?
Yes.
So like my ignorant ass is literally, I got off Skype for like 2 weeks and I'm back and I'm ready to hear everyone's narrative of a story because I want them to be able to explain their game very well. I also just want to make sure that like no one's like dumping on Favi, and especially if he really does not have any chance of getting your votes, don't ask like a shitty question to make him like feel more humility for the game that he has or has not played, because that's not cool. But if he does have a chance of getting your vote, then ask your question, but don't like do that just to make him feel bad. I just want a good story. I wanted it to be able to be told well, and I want it to be corroborated by the stuff that you guys have said tonight, because I don't want a fucking liar. I also don't want a dick to win. I also want my person that is the representative for the season to be someone that I'm happy with voting for. And that's how I always vote.
I probably could rephrase myself a little bit. Am I pissed for the game that Fabi played? Absolutely. But I'm not gonna like, this is my process, right? I vent now, so I don't do it later. That's always the type of person I was. I say I want to trickle half of y'all, I'm not really going to, but just getting the thought out there makes it not there. So I apologize.
No, I feel you. I feel you.
I apologize that came off the wrong way. But I am going to ask Fabi a question about his social awareness in this game because I am genuinely curious as to where his state of mind was in the later rounds.
And that's totally valid because by the sound, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say by the sounds of it, it sounds like the only people that he had good social game with is with Zareen, Mikey, and Madison. And that's kind of horrible because that's only 3 people out of a shit ton of people on merge. And he had not horrible, but like he had so much time with certain people to like build it up. And him and Lauren have been on the same track the whole entire game together. And it's kind of a shame that like he has such disdain for her where they've had literally every single day of this game together where they could be like good friends.
Yeah. And my thing is as well, in terms of like this game, where there's been a bunch of people from international like backgrounds, like Mikey's literally from Japan, Tita and G2 from Australia. Fabi's still in that stream as well, even Usery as well. I don't, if she tries to blame that lack of kind of a social game on the time zone stuff, I can't
I would actually blow up.
Oh,
I can't forgive that because you have examples of multiple people in this game. Like obviously in our tribe initially, I know that was a different situation, like G2, especially like Mikey and Zareen, who put their best foot forward. To try to talk to people, regardless of the time zones, and they played killer games. If Fabi tries to pull that card, I no, ma'am, no.
No, I agree 100%.
One thing that really
he cannot.
is I feel like Fabi, I feel like several votes during this merge, Fabi would sign on and just be like, oh, I'm voting for Amanda. Amanda should go. And then sign back off and didn't say anything else. And that's like,
that's happened when I got voted out. It was just like, okay, me and Mikey were just there like, okay, so what's the plan? I was just like, oh, I'm voting this way, and that's it. I'm just like, hello, no, like, we need to talk about this. Where are you going?
And y'all voted fucking Fabi to be the most strategic. I fucking can't. That's what. Sorry.
That's okay. No, I think like, no, because like, no, if he says the time zone thing, I think I will actually explode because like, I know how much work like me and Mikey put into this, and like the fact like no, just no, absolutely not. No.
Like Zareen, you were a fucking powerhouse this game, and
yeah,
you had a completely different time zone. Like it's doable. I saw the game that Bobby played in the last game we played together, and he was a lot more present and he was a lot more active. And those events took place later in the night than these ones took place. So I don't think time zones are really an excuse, if I'm being honest.
And if he tries that, I'm gonna shut them down immediately and just say, that's not an excuse. What was the real reason?
But is there any, like, to play devil's advocate, is there anything Fabi could say that would just like completely like do a 360? Like if he said like, oh no, like me and Peyton were actually working together this whole time.
If he somehow gets, as a joke, if he somehow gets Peyton and Ward to shit their pants at the exact same time, then I would consider it. It has to be simultaneous and nothing but simultaneous, and then I will consider it. Other than that, my vote's stuck between Peyton and Lauren.
I kind of just want to have him tell his perspective, and it can be delusional, but I want him to think that he was doing good. Like, no. Like, get us. If he thought he was playing the best game and he was doing that TM, I want him to feel his fantasy. It's not correct, but at least he thought he was doing the right thing. I want him to show that he was trying.
You want him to live in his truth. So if his truth is that he played a great game, that is great for him.
Pull a Valentina. Just let him pull a Valentina, and we're good.
I don't
Like-
think my vote would. I don't think there's. I'm trying to say this nicely. I don't think that I would vote for Fabi going into final tribal council.
You're the villain of the season, and let's be real here. Say something mean. Come on.
Grr.
Because I'm just thinking like how much like jury performance and like tribal council performance would actually go into this. Because like I know for like the
Yeah.
season that I played, like the person who ended up winning, even though like he was like MIA, like in and out, his final like tribal council was completely utterly flawless. Like
Yeah.
it was like no fault given. So that's why I'm trying to be like, oh, you never know. Fabi could just be like an undercover great person at final tribal, and like, he will just shock everybody.
I will say, I initially, in terms of like the whole final tribal council for things, there are some cases, yes, where that does make a lot of difference. The first game I ever won, someone completely fell on their face so hard at the fucking final tribal council, I kind of swooped that up. And then obviously the second game I ever won, that was Blake in that. Blake was in that season as well, and that's where I kind of knew him and Zach, and that's how I got into the Zora community himself. And I was winning that game regardless. Bitch didn't vote for me, but you know. I think in terms of final tribal council performance, it does not hurt if you're a good speaker as well, but a lot of times people come in with their mindset. But I think with this case, especially because some people are very torn on this, like I am personally, because I do generally consider both of them my friends. I do see the positive in both games. I just need them to own it. So I think that's a case where final tribal council performance will play a factor as well in how good they are articulating the game. I think in terms of someone who maybe be a tier below that, it would be a lot harder for them to get boosted up. It have to be the right situation of them doing really well and both the others fucking flopping, right? It's very situational in that regard. But I have seen things where final tribal performance does play it, and then there was one game where you all knew who you were voting for, and we very, very much made that known. To the point where it's kind of funny. I would just straight. I'm not sure if John Farrell was in that game or not. I just straight up said, okay, how honest do you want me to be about your chances here? They're like, yeah, I'm like, okay, it's probably gonna be unanimous. This person's winning. Bye.
I'm sorry, I got called out there for a second. Which game is this? I'm sorry.
I think it was Experiments where Karen won over
Oh,
Marcelo.
yes.
Oh, we very much let Marcelo know he was fucking losing.
Oh, yes.
Hey, John, is finale tomorrow or
Wednesday. Wednesday.
What time Wednesday?
It'll be what we it's not official yet. Because we're trying to, because of course we're catering, of course, first to the final three. I think Peyton was working all day tomorrow.
Yeah. My flight is Wednesday night at 11. So
it'll be much earlier than that.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I still want to attend and all that stuff.
Because don't forget, Fabi is in the final three, and I think for once we're actually trying to give a decent time for Fabi. Because don't forget, Fabi has catered to everybody else's time requests without any sort of bitching at all. So I will say thank you to Fabi for that.
Of course, that's something also. Well, I'm ready to win no awards. I'm ready to win absolutely fucking nothing. The only thing I think we should win is the alliance name Bitch You Thought. The only thing.
That there were a lot of interesting alliance names.
I know we had some.
Some that I cannot
repeat
while
we're recording.
Oh no, or period.
Wait, what?
God, I thought I was final. Jesus.
Oh, there were some that let's just say I can't wait for some to see some people at reunion. Because it'll be an interesting time. But we're gonna call them out. We as Prod just started filling out our forms, so for all of that. But yeah, we're intrigued to see how everything plays out on Wednesday. I think we're looking at 7:00 time.
I could do that
for final. but don't quote me on that. We'll let
Yeah.
you guys know
I'm
officially.
probably not gonna be on the Zoom the entire time because again, I'll be at the airport. If
Yeah.
you guys could just tag me and I can just join quickly,
Yeah.
get my thoughts in.
And I don't know if we told you guys the format yet.
No.
But okay, so let me exactly read off exactly what Maggie told the final three. If I can find it. Bear with me.
It's on Thanksgiving.
What?
The finale's on Thanksgiving. It's on Wednesday.
Oh, it's before this is the pregame. So this is what'll get you amped up. Like anybody actually goes out at 7:00.
Fair.
Uh,
The dinner.
Okay, dinner, yeah. Okay, sorry, that's the wrong time. They're currently doing rites of passage right now.
Aw,
oh,
I'll have to say nice things.
Okay, so for opening and closing, they will each get up to 5 minutes.
yep. That's about right.
And then each of you will get up to 10.
That's long enough for me. I'm good.
And I'm going to say up to. We jokingly say that if somebody is being hysterical, that people can yield their time to somebody else. That kind of happened last season with one person. They were just on a complete roll. And we let them go to like 13 because they were just absolutely hysterical. And it was out of somebody that we didn't expect. So yeah.
All that fun stuff. Regardless of what happens, I think it's gonna be a fun Roundtable, and obviously I've made friends with all you guys and all that stuff. I'm just interested to see what happens as well, and yeah, all that fun stuff, you know.
All right, and then I'm sure Maggie's going to confirm with them what time Wednesday is best for them, and then we'll get that to you guys.
Yeah, I will either be at the airport or still stuck in traffic on my way there.
Perfect. Well, not perfect, but
my flight's at 11. I'm leaving at like 5.
There you go.
But it's Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're also flying overseas too, so that just shouldn't be as bad.
It's also probably the worst state to fucking fly in the United States of America.
Debatable.
The day before Thanksgiving.
The day before Christmas, maybe.
Debatable. Oh, I thought you said state. Okay. The worst state to fly out of. Worst day? Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I'm flying out of Newark.
Yeah. I was like, Newark.
Yeah.
Brandon, is this when you're coming to London?
Yes, I am.
Holidays.
I'm gonna have some free time on Saturday to like chill out too because they're going to a game and I'm totally ditching that.
What game are they going to?
I don't know. I mentioned this before, but the reason why I'm going to London in the first place is because my sister is going to London as part of the Manhattan College cheer team, and the college I went to are rivals of that, which plays no part in that whatsoever. But I kind of used that excuse to be like, "Oh, let's go. I need people."
Wow, Megan's here.
Well, I'm free on Saturday if you want to meet up or something.
Probably.
Maybe Megan can actually answer the question then.
My God, Libby, shut the fuck up! It's my coat. Oh my God.
Well, that doesn't answer the question.
He's fucking barking at my goddamn coat like it's a fucking intruder. Go away, Libby.
What's in the coat?
Coat? Oh my God, get the fuck out. Okay, I'm so sorry, you guys.
You're good.
Why are there only 4 jurors here? What the hell's going on?
There were more here, but don't forget there's only 8. Zachy was here also before.
Yeah.
But Zachy is also driving. But Mikey, it's
time zone difference.
Yeah. And then Amanda was not able to join.
The rest of us joined.
Yes.
Oh, and Madison also.
And Madison was not here either.
Okay, what's the question? Sorry.
Oh no, do you know what time officially FTC is going to be on Wednesday?
No, I do not. I don't even know when Rites of Passage is going to be because somebody didn't show up. So I don't.
Interesting.
I think Wednesday, I don't even know because I was just talking to them about it being like, I can't host it, like start it off if you guys do before the time I get home from work because I have to go into work now Wednesday because my coworker lost a friend and a couple others were in
Oh,
surgery
Yeah,
from the shooting on Saturday. So
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I feel really bad for him. He was like he did like philanthropy work and like volunteering at the club at Club Q.
yeah. No, do what you need to do. What you need
So I
to
have
do.
to go into work Wednesday and not be remote because he is taking off the rest of the week.
Yeah, no, that's
So
completely fair.
I would have been at home and able to start at any time, but John will have to find other prod who can start it early if
Yeah,
they want to go
if it's
earlier.
early, I can do it, no problem.
Yeah. So we'll hopefully have a set time for the jurors by tonight, just so you know. But for the 4 of you that are on here, what times on Wednesday are you available?
I just can't do after 11 because I am taking a flight at 11 p.m. On
It'll
Wednesday,
be
I'm
done
good.
before then.
Yeah, I'll be good
later.
then
Yeah,
for time wise.
cool.
For
I
me, it's whatever Fabi's doing because like we're on the same time zone, so whatever
Okay.
works for Fabi works for me.
Okay.
I can't join until after 6:30 Eastern.
Okay. I don't feel like it'd be like even if they started early, I don't see them starting earlier than like 6 or I don't know.
Oh,
And even if they do, then you can just be on the back end.
Yeah, we let
Yeah.
you guys pick your order too in case people need to leave it early or come in late. So don't worry about that. Let me just go send a poll into the tribe right now for Wednesday. And I'll just start it off at 6 p.m. Eastern and hopefully they don't ask for anything earlier.
Can I just ask Prod?
Yes.
I don't know if you all can answer this,
Mhm.
but on a scale of 1 to 10, so far this season, what would be your rating for this season?
In terms of what?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. I was like, what do you mean? Because I feel like I have multiple numbers for different
I'm gonna stop the recording on that.